Halima Danjuma had never been in love before, not truly. At 22, she had grown up quietly in the narrow alleys of Tundu Wada in Kano, a place of early morning calls to prayers, evening firewood smoke, and mothers who wore resilience like perfume. Her mother, Mama Hadiza, was one of those women, a tailor for over 30 years. She had raised Halima and her elder sister Amina after their father died of typhoid when Halima was only 6 years old. Life was not easy, but it was stable. Mama Hadiza made clothes for weddings, burials, and naming ceremony. She took pride in her daughter's education. Amina, the first daughter, was now a journalist working with a popular radio station in Abuja. Halima, the quiet one, had just finished her final exams in agricultural economics at Ahmadu Bello University. Halima often helped her mother in the shop, cutting cloths, ironing wrappers, running errands. But lately she was distracted, always on her phone, smiling at the screen, lost in thought. Finish your school, Mama Hadiza always said. Don't let any man sweet talk you out of your brain. But Halima had never met anyone like Yakubu Gambo. It started with a random Instagram follow. His profile was filled with scenic photos, mountain views, books on business, dark quotes about loyalty and betrayal. He looked older, maybe 30, with a strong face, short beard, and a way of writing that felt like poetry. You seem like a rare soul. You remind me of rain, quiet but deeply felt. That was the first message he sent. Halima had stared at it for hours before replying with a shy "thank you." He didn't bombard her. He wasn't pushy. He was patient. Every few days, he would check on her with a soft message. He called her queen. He asked about her dreams. He sent her data when she ran out. Then 10,000 naira and said, "Just to buy yourself suya and coke." Halima blushed when he called her queen. They started calling each other. Then video calls. He spoke Hausa fluently with a Cameroonian accent. He told her he was Nigerian Cameroonian, running a small logistics company in Garwa. He was building a house. He wanted a wife, someone calm, soft-spoken, and God-fearing. Halima felt seen. He never asked for nude, never pressured her. Instead, he listened to her. She told him about her late father, her mother's sewing machine, and her big plans to open an agro store. "You are too soft for that country," he said once. "If you were mine, I would treat you like the sun. You wouldn't struggle a day in your life." One evening, as she sat on the porch, helping her mother shell beans, her phone lit up with another message from Yakubu. "I want to see you. Let me send for you. Come to me. Let's plan our future together." Mama Hadiza watched her daughter smile and type. "Halima, who is that?" she asked. Halima hid the phone. "Just a friend." "A man?" She hesitated. "He's a nice person, Mama." "Where does he live?" "Cameroon." Mama's hands froze. "Cameroon? Who you know for there?" "He is half Nigerian. He has a business." "Mama, he is serious about me." Mama Hadiza exhaled. "Halima, I won't tell you not to talk to a man, but the internet does not show a person's real face. People pretend. They will tell you they are doctors, but can't even treat malaria." Halima giggled. "He is different, Ma." "They always are, my daughter, until you reach where your feet does not have a ground to stand on. Don't go where you don't know." "I won't." But Halima had already made up her mind. 2 weeks later, Halima told her mother she was selected for a business training in Lagos. She showed her a fake flyer Yakubu had designed. It looked real. Her name was printed on it. Mama Hadiza gave her 5,000 naira for the road and packed food. "Pray for me, Mama," Halima said, hugging her tightly. "May Allah protect you, Halima. May he return you to me." Halima boarded a night bus to Yobe, then another to Gembo. There, she met a man named Malam Idris, a fixer Yakubu had paid to help her cross into Cameroon. She wore a long gown and scarf. The border was porous. They slipped across on foot through a bush path. It felt like a movie, thrilling, dangerous, but she kept telling herself, it is for love. Yakubu met her in Garua. He looked exactly like his pictures, tall, lean, confident. He smiled and hugged her like they were already married. "You are even more beautiful in person," he whispered. He took her to a guest house. They ate spicy jollof. He played soft music. He told her stories about business and family. He kissed her forehead and said, Tomorrow, I'll take you to meet my uncle. Then we'll start our life. Halima slept with a smile, but when she woke up, she was in chains. The slap came out of nowhere, hot, sharp, deafening. Halima's head hit the wall behind her as Yakubu stood over her, face twisted, breathing heavily. She stared up at him in disbelief, one hand flying to her throbbing cheek. Her mouth quivered. Yakubu, why did you hit me? He didn't answer. Instead, he grabbed her wrist and yanked her to her feet. You asked too many questions. But what is happening? You think I brought you here to enjoy jollof and music? You lied to me. Halima screamed. He laughed coldly. I gave you what you asked for. Freedom. You just didn't know the cost. You are mine now. You belong to me. Halima's knees buckled. Yakubu, please, I don't understand. He shoved her into a dark, windowless room. There was a filthy mattress on the floor, a broken bucket in the corner, and nothing else. She rushed to the door behind him, but he slammed it shut. She heard a heavy metal lock twist into place. Then silence. That was the beginning. For the first 2 days, she screamed, cried, begged. She shouted his name until her voice cracked. No response, only the scraping of footsteps outside the door and the occasional clang of a spoon on the plate. She refused the first meals they passed through a crack at the bottom of the door. Rice with bones, water with dead ants floating inside. Her hands shook, her mouth dried. By the third day, hunger won. She ate, weeping into every bite. She didn't know what day it was when Yakubu finally opened the door. His smile was gone. His eyes were cold. In his hand was a chain. Not a metaphorical one, a real chain. I warned you not to scream, he said. You think you can come here and do anyhow? Kubo, I thought you loved me. You said you loved me. I said what I needed to say. He fastened the chain around her ankle. It was tied to the wall. From now on, you don't talk unless I talk. You don't move unless I say move. She screamed and tried to fight him off. He slapped her again, harder this time. The pain came with stars. Blackness crept into the corners of her eyes. She didn't remember how long she slept, but when she woke up, the door was closed again, the chain still on her leg, and her phone was gone. At night, she lay curled up on the mattress, pressing her knees to her chest. Her mother's voice echoed in her head. Don't go where you don't know. Why hadn't she listened? Yakubu came in only when he wanted to have his way with her. When he wasn't shouting at her, he was touching her roughly, violently, muttering that she was lucky he even brought her to his home. This is your home, he said. You are my wife, and if you try to leave, I will kill you and tell the whole world you were a whore who ran away. Halima began to break, bit by bit, hour by hour. Weeks passed. She stopped counting, stopped hoping. Her body felt strange, heavy, her breast hot. She was always tired, nauseous, dizzy. At first, she thought it was stress, malnutrition, dehydration. Then one morning, Yakubu's cousin, a short man named Bello, walked in and noticed her crouched in a corner, shivering. She has been vomiting since, he told Yakubu. 2 days now. I think she is pregnant, You need to check her. Yakubu cursed. Please bring one of those cheap nurses. Later that evening, a short woman in a stained lab coat came in, carrying a plastic bag. She pricked Halima's finger, asked no questions, didn't even look her in the eye, then turned to Yakubu. She is pregnant, probably a few weeks gone. Halima stared blankly. Pregnant? The room spun. She screamed and fainted. Back in Kano, a few weeks had passed. Mama Hadiza no longer laughed, no longer hummed while sewing. She stopped going to the mosque. She sat by the window all day, holding her rosary beads, muttering prayers into her dry lips. Neighbors began to whisper, still no word from Halima. I heard she went to Lagos. Maybe she is married and doesn't want her family to know. Maybe she ran away. Or even worse, Mama Hadiza heard them, but she didn't care. Her soul knew something was wrong. She had called Halima's number at least 50 times, sent voice notes, prayed, but nothing. Finally, she called Amina, her eldest daughter. At 28, Amina had built a name that echoed across Abuja, one report at a time, one fearless broadcast after another. She tackled corrupt politicians, on air like they were unruly children. She held community leaders to account with questions that left them stammering. Her voice on the radio was bold, clear, and impossible to ignore. Amina, your sister is gone, Mama Hadiza said, her voice breaking. Amina left Abuja that same day. Amina was not like Halima. She was loud where Halima was soft. She was skeptical where Halima believed. She had always been the one who stayed home to protect, the one who made sacrifices, the one who raised her younger sister while her mother worked long hours. And now, the same sister had vanished without a trace. When she got to Kano, she didn't eat, didn't sleep. She began digging. First, she asked her mother, where did she say she was going? Lagos. For one training on agriculture. Did she show you anything? Mama Hadiza brought out the printed flyer. Amina's eyes narrowed. The design was amateur. The email address was fake. The logo was stolen from another group. Did you check this email? No, I did not, Mama Hadiza said. Amina picked up her laptop and typed into the address. It bounced back immediately. Fake. She opened Halima's room. It still smelled like her. Body spray, lotion, and dry clothes hanging behind the door. She sat on the bed and opened her sister's notebook. On the inside flap was a scribbled number, one with a Cameroonian country code. Amina's heart stopped. She pulled out her phone, dialed. It rang twice, then it went off. She stared at the screen, then whispered, "What did you do, Halima?" That night, Mama Hadiza couldn't sleep. She heard Amina pacing, heard her muttering. At 3 a.m., she walked into the living room. Amina sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by papers, maps, and her laptop. "Mama, I traced her Instagram messages," she said. "The man's name is Yakubu Gambo. He's from Garoua, Cameroon. He runs a fake logistics company. His account is locked, but I found a photo tagged from last year. He was at a club in Maroua. Maroua. It is not far from the Nigerian border. I am going there, Mama." "What? I am not sitting here while my sister is somewhere suffering. You know Halima. She would never just run away. Something bad has happened." The next morning, just as Amina was packing, Mama Hadiza's old Itel phone buzzed. She picked it up. One message from an unknown number. "Amina, please help me. I made a mistake. I'm in trouble." Mama Hadiza gasped. "Amina, look." Amina read it, then dropped the bag, then sat. She cried, then stood up and said, "I am leaving for Abuja today." 2 days later in Abuja, Amina sat across from her best friend and editor, Shade, in their small shared office at the radio station. Inside, the room was tense, heavy. Shade looked at her like she had grown 2 heads. "You want to go to Cameroon?" she asked, arms folded. Amina didn't blink. "Yes." Shade exhaled and pushed back her chair. "Amina, do you even hear yourself?" "I'm not asking for permission, Shade," Amina said. Her tone was flat, unshaking. "I'm telling you what I am going to do." Shade narrowed her eyes. "Do you have a passport?" Amina shook her head. "No." "A visa?" "No." "So how do you plan to get into another country, journalist or not?" "I don't care," Amina replied. "I'll cross the border like Halima did, through Gambo. I know people there. I'll blend in, disappear if I have to." Shade stared at her, mouth partly open. "You'll get arrested, or even worse." Amina leaned forward, her elbows resting on the desk. Her voice dropped. "I found him." Shade blinked. "Found who?" "Yakubu Gambo, the man she went to see. He runs a fake logistics company in Garoua. His Instagram and Facebook account was private, but I traced one of his tagged photos. He posted something from a compound near a place called Gashiga. That is where Halima is, or was." Shade's eyes softened and disappeared. "But I mean, she is my sister, Shade." There was silence. That was all she needed to say. Shade sighed, long, deep. Then she opened the drawer to her right, pulled out the blank Waka FM press letterhead, and began typing. "If anybody asks you," she muttered, "you are on assignment to investigate illegal migration and border trafficking." She reached for her desk drawer and pulled out an old press tag and a black digital recorder. "Take this just in case. It might save your life if the wrong person stops you." Amina swallowed, her voice shaking now. "Thank you." Shade looked up, her stern face. "Don't thank me." She stood, walked around her desk, and pulled Amina into a tight hug. "Just come back alive." 2 days later, the bus rattled through the pothole-littered roads. Amina sat by the window, dressed in a plain grey hijab and a faded loose gown. She carried only one small travel bag, stuffed with her recorder, a plastic bottle of water, some clothes, a razor blade Sade had hidden in her wrapper hem, and the fake assignment letter. She kept her bag close, her scarf low over her face. The other passengers chatted, slept, and watched movies on cracked phones. But Amina didn't close her eyes even for once. Her body was buzzing, not with fear anymore, but with purpose. Every kilometer they crossed was one step closer to Halima. At Gembu, she met Malam Idris, the fixer Sade had arranged through a contact. He was short, with dusty slippers, a worn-out scarf, and the faint smell of dry gin. He looked like a man who had done so many border crossings in silence, and perhaps a few more illegal things too. He didn't shake her hand. He only looked her over once and said, "Are you ready?" "I am," Amina said. "Good. Don't talk too much. Just walk when I walk, jump when I jump. We will walk through a bush, 10 minutes walk. No show any sign of fear." Amina didn't shake as they crossed into Cameroon on foot, weaving through trees and crawling under thorny fences. Her heart pounded like a drum in her ears. She didn't look back, not once. Garoua in Cameroon was alive with chaos. Blaring horns, shouting vendors, motorcycles buzzing like wasps. Hausa mixed with French on every corner. The streets smell of smoke, pepper, dust, and goat droppings. Amina kept her scarf low, her eyes forward. Malam Idris dropped her off at a small yellowed lodge just off the main road. He didn't enter. He just pointed. "My job ends here. You are on your own now." Then he walked away. Inside, the lodge was cramped. The fan squeaked like it was dying. The bed was thin foam over wood, but it was a place to think. Amina locked the door, then sat down and cried. Not loudly, just soft, breathless sobs that soaked into her scarf. She was alone in another country, with no backup, no guarantee of survival, but she had come too far to stop now. Amina began her search at night. She wore her scarf lower and walked with her head slightly down, unnoticed. She entered the night market with fake confidence, pretending to shop for tomatoes. Her Hausa was fluent, her posture calm. She leaned close to a young girl, cutting meat, and whispered, "Do you know anyone called Yakubu Gambo?" The girl froze, then looked up slowly. "Why? I'm just looking for someone." You are not the first woman to come here for that man." Amina's heart began to race. "Be careful," the girl added. Her voice was low. "He is not who you think he is." Back at the lodge, Amina sat on the edge of the bed, her phone in her hand, waiting. No messages. She stared at the wall, replaying Halima's voice in her head. "Amina, please help me." The voice echoed in her chest like a cry from a deep, dark well. Then her phone vibrated. Unknown number. Just one message. "Stop asking questions. Go back to Nigeria. Last warning." Her fingers turned cold. She hadn't even been in Cameroon 24 hours, and someone was already watching her. The next morning, Amina remembered a tiny detail from one of Halima's last calls months ago. Something about a yellow mosque. She found it, small, peeling paint, standing stubbornly near the edge of a noisy market. Behind it, a narrow alley, houses made of rusted zinc, bent satellite dishes, faded paint, children playing barefoot with sticks. She walked slowly through the alley. Then a voice called out, "You are Amina?" She stopped and turned. A tall man stood in the shadows between two houses. Calm eyes, rough beard, simple shirt and jeans. He looked Nigerian. "Yes," she said cautiously. "Who are you?" "My name is Mokhtar Bello. I am a doctor." Amina's chest tightened. He stepped forward. "Halima came to me once. She was very weak. She couldn't walk well." Amina stepped forward, close to tears. "Where is she now? Please, I am her sister." Mokhtar looked around, lowered his voice. She was moved by the man, Gambo. He's paranoid now. Someone tipped him off that people were asking questions. He moved Halima to a village outside Marwa. It is called Koagi. Remote, dangerous. "Can you take me there?" Mokhtar hesitated. "It is risky. They don't like strangers. Especially not Nigerian women snooping." "I don't care," Amina said. "I have to find her." He studied her, then nodded slowly. "Okay, but you have to trust me. That night, on the road to Kogi, the van was small, rusty, and smelled of onions. They sat, squeezed between sacks and whispering passengers. The driver didn't ask questions. Mukhtar kept his head low and his voice low. I have seen girls like Halima. Dozens. Some come here chasing love. Some are promised jobs. Some are just snatched. Halima stared out the window. Mukhtar, did my sister look okay when you saw her? Mukhtar sighed. She was thin, exhausted. Pregnant, maybe 2 months. Amina bit her lip so hard she tasted blood. Must have been so scared. She asked me to help her escape. You didn't? I tried. But that man, he has people watching. If I had moved too soon, he would have hurt her, or even worse. Amina nodded slowly. And now you are helping me. Why? Mukhtar smiled faintly. Because you came. You didn't just report it. You came. Amina turned her head, blinking back hot tears. She is my sister. My only sister. They arrived Kogi village. The next morning, the village looked like time had forgotten it. Dry land, cracked walls, chicken walking across dusty yards. The sun beat down like punishment. Mukhtar pointed. That house. She's in there with 2 other girls. They call it a family home, but it is a prison. Amina's knees wobbled. Her throat tightened. She's really inside there? He nodded. We can't storm in. It is guarded, but I have a plan. He explained quickly. They would pretend that Amina was Yakubu's distant cousin from Kano that has come to join the household. Fake story. Blend in, wait for nightfall, then sneak them out. It was mad. It was dangerous. But Amina didn't blink. I will do it. Amina changed into local clothes. Wrapper, old slippers, scarf. She wiped her face with dust to look tired and hungry, then approached the gate slowly. A man stood shirtless, holding a long stick. His chest was scarred. What do you want? He barked in Hausa. I am looking for Yakubu. I am his cousin from Kano. He said I should come and stay here. The man looked her up and down. You came alone? Yes, sir. He squinted, thought for a moment, then jerked his head. Go inside. The gate creaked open. Amina stepped in and froze. Halima was in the corner, back against the wall, stomach softly swollen, eyes lifeless. Their eyes met. Halima gasped, but Amina raised a finger slowly to her lips. Don't react, not yet. Halima didn't believe at first that her sister, Amina, was standing before her. She sat with her back against the wall, arms hugging her knees, trying to stay invisible in the dim, stifling room. The walls were made of cracked concrete, the floor dusty and bare. The air smelled of old sweat, urine, and sorrow. She had lost count of the days. She didn't even know if it was morning or night. Sometimes she even forgot her own name. Her body was tired. Her hope had dried up, and her mind, it drifted like a paper boat in storm water. So when she looked up and saw Amina, her sister, her other half, standing in the doorway in a faded wrapper and scarf, barefoot, eyes wide with hidden tears, her mind refused to believe it. It must be hallucination, a trick. Maybe she was finally dying, and this was heaven's way of letting her say goodbye, because it couldn't be real. Amina couldn't be here. Not here. Not in this place. But she was. Her body was real. Her scent, the faint mix of dust and stress, was real. Her trembling fingers, her firm shoulders trying to appear calm. It was all real. Another one, Kubu's cousin, grunted behind her. He pushed Amina into the room like she was a sack of potatoes, then slammed the door. The metal lock turned, loud and final. And then silence. Amina stood still, scanning the room. 1 window, 1 door, 2 torn mattresses, 3 girls including Halima. Amina's gaze landed on her. Halima's lips parted. Her voice barely came out. Amina, is it really you? Amina nodded slowly, fighting the urge to cry. Don't move, she whispered. Don't scream. I am here. That was all Halima needed. Her body shook. Tears exploded from her eyes like a dam had finally broken. She dropped her head and buried her face in her hands. The sobs came, deep and heavy, painful, like her ribs were cracking open. Amina couldn't hold it anymore either. She ran to her, dropped to her knees, and pulled her sister into a tight, aching embrace. She felt the weight of Halima's body, the weakness in her arms, the gentle swell of her belly pressing into her stomach. Amina froze. She was really pregnant. She clenched her jaw to stop herself from breaking. "Oh, Halima," she whispered, stroking her sister's bony back. "What did he do to you?" Halima sobbed harder. "I am sorry. I was stupid. I thought he loved me." No, Amina whispered. "It is not your fault. It is not. You are going to be okay. I swear to you." Across the room, a frail voice cut in. The younger girl, not older than 16 years old. She looked up from Halima to Amina, her eyes round with disbelief. "You are her sister?" Amina nodded. "Yes." "You came here alone for her?" "Yes." The girl blinked slowly, her eyes filled with quiet pain. "Nobody ever comes for us," she said. Later that evening, a dirty bowl of cold rice and watery pepper soup was shoved under the door. That was their food. One meal. No water, no spoon, no words. Amina sat with Halima on the thin mattress closest to the wall. She pretended to pick dirt from her wrapper, but her lips were moving. She was whispering, "We are leaving tonight," she said. "The doctor, Mukhtar, he's waiting outside the village. He has a small bike. We will sneak out when everyone's asleep." Halima's head lifted slowly. Her voice was low, hollow. "What about the others?" Amina hesitated. She looked at the 16-year-old girl again. She was lying in the corner, her back turned, but Amina could tell she was listening. "I don't know if we can take everyone," Amina said. "There is only one seat." Halima's face tightened. She shook her head. "I can't leave them, Amina. They are like me. They believed lies too. I can't just walk away from them." Amina looked at her sister, then back at the girl. The girl turned slightly, eyes wide with quiet desperation. She didn't speak. Amina sighed. "Okay, that's fine," she whispered. "We will try for all of you, but we have one chance. One mistake and we may not survive it." Halima nodded, slowly, gratefully. They both knew the truth. If they got caught, they wouldn't just be beaten, they would be killed. Outside the house, the air was cold and still. Even the insects were quiet. Amina crouched near the back window, sweat dripping down her back despite the chill. She pressed gently against the window's wooden shutter. Creak! The sound made her heart stop. She paused, held her breath. No one moved outside. She opened it wider, slipped one leg out. "Go!" she whispered. Halima followed, quietly, slowly. Her belly made it harder, but she didn't complain. Zuwaira was next, the youngest. She moved fast and silent. Amina climbed out fast. They jumped into the bush behind the house, their feet sinking into dry dirt and weeds. As they crawled to the fence, a flashlight blinked in the distance. It was Mukhtar. He emerged from the shadows, his voice low and urgent. "There is no time. They will notice soon." He rode out the motorbike. It rattled quietly, barely able to carry one person, let alone 3. "There's only space for 2, he said. Amina turned to Halima. "Go with Zuwaira. I'll find another way." Halima's eyes widened. "No, I won't leave you." "You are pregnant," Amina said, gripping her hand. "Please go." Zuwaira held Halima's other hand. "We will wait for you at the old mission clinic, east of town. Please come." Amina hugged her sister quickly. "Go." Mukhtar helped them onto the bike. He gave Amina one last look, grateful, terrified, then sped into the dark. The tail light disappeared. Amina ducked into the bush, but it was too late. "Hey, who goes there?" Voices, footsteps, a torch beam swung wildly. Amina didn't think. She ran. They chased her like a wild animal, hunting for a prey. She bolted through dry cornfields, thorn slashing her legs. Her slippers flew off. Her lungs screamed. Her heart pounded like a drum. Flashlights flashed behind her. Shouts, curses, then the sharp bark of a dog. And then, bang, a gunshot. She didn't stop. She dove behind a broken fence, stumbled into a pile of discarded metal drums, and crawled deep inside. She crawled into a ball, her heart racing, her entire body shaking. She covered her mouth with both hands. Footsteps passed, fast, angry, then silence. She didn't move for 20 minutes. She didn't cry. She just waited. Finally, it was dawn. The mission clinic was quiet. A small cracked building with a rusted sign. Inside, Halima sat on the edge of a mattress, hands clasped tight, staring at the door until her eyes burned. Every sound outside made her flinch. Zuwaira slept beside her. Then the door creaked open. Halima looked up. Amina stood there, covered in dirt, one elbow bloodied, her face scratched. She looked like she had crawled out of a grave. Amina! Halima screamed and ran to her, tears bursting free. You are okay, she sobbed. Amina collapsed into her arms. We are not safe yet, she whispered. We have to move again. Mukhtar stepped forward, his face pale and tired. There is a safe women's shelter in Ngandere, he said, but we have to cross 2 more villages. It will take hours. Amina looked at him with bloodshot eyes. Then let's go. On the road later that day, the 4 of them lay hidden under a large tap in the back of a hidden truck. The road was bumpy. Dust flew in from the cracks. Zuwaira slept with her head in Halima's lap. Mukhtar sat close to Amina, gently tying a scarf around the gash on her elbow. You shouldn't have gone back, he said quietly. I couldn't leave them. You are reckless, Amina. I know. He smiled faintly, but you are brave. She looked at him. Why are you helping us? He paused. His voice was low. I had a sister. She fell for a man like Yakubu Gambo. He promised her school, then marriage, then nothing. Amina's eyes filled with tears. He killed her, Mukhtar said. She reached for his hand. I'm so sorry. I couldn't save her, he replied. But maybe I can save someone else. They sat in silence as the truck bumped forward, carrying them farther from the past. When they got to Ngandere's women's safe home, the truck bolted to a final stop. Amina sat up slowly, her muscles aching from the journey. The girls beside her stared. Zuwaira blinked awake, yawning softly, while Halima rubbed her back and whispered, We are here. Mukhtar peeked out from the truck's flap and nodded. This is the place, he said. The air felt cooler now, and for the first time in days, a breeze swept through that didn't smell like fear. A tall, rusted gate creaked open as they approached. A worn wooden sign above read, Centre des Refugiés pour Femmes et Enfants, meaning women and children safe home. The compound was small, maybe 6 or 7 rooms. Clotheslines were strung around the open courtyard with wrappers swaying in the breeze. A few children played silently near the corner, their mothers, some with fresh bruises, others holding babies, washed from worn plastic chairs. A short elderly nun stepped forward. Her white habit was faded, her eyes sharp, her arms open. You are safe, she said in French accented Hausa. Come in, come and rest. Amina held Halima's hand as they entered. Halima's knees wobbled. The nun called out something quickly, and 2 other women came forward. They helped Halima to a room with a thin mattress, a torn mosquito net, and a small jug of water beside a plastic cup. Zuwaira lay down immediately. She hadn't spoken since the truck. Halima sat at the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. Her lips moved like she was praying, or maybe still trying to believe she was free. Amina knelt beside her. She placed her hand over Halima's. I am here. You are safe. He won't hurt you anymore. Halima turned slowly. Her face crumbled. I don't deserve this, she whispered. I disobeyed Mama. I lied. I walked into this with my eyes open. No, Amina said, grabbing her hand tightly. You believed in love. You believed someone saw you. That is not a crime. Halima cried again. This time, Amina didn't stop her. She let the tears flow. That night, Amina lay beside Halima on the mattress. They were back to back at first, like the way they used to sleep as children in their old room back in Tundu Wada, before life got hard and silence grew between them. Halima turned slowly in the dark. Amina, she answered. Do you recall the time I broke Mama's necklace and blamed it on you? Amina chuckled softly. You said a rat chewed it. Mama beat me with a broom and prayed over me like I was cursed. Halima laughed, tears in her voice. I remember, Amina said, and I forgive you. Even then, there was silence again. Then Halima whispered, Thank you. For what? For coming for me. For still loving me. Amina turned and pulled her close. I will always love you, Halima. You are my heart. 1 week later, they got to the Nigerian embassy in Yaoundé. Getting to Yaoundé wasn't easy. Mukhtar made arrangements quietly through contact. People who owed him favors or simply admired what he was doing. Amina wore a long dress and oversized shades to hide her face. Halima kept her scarf low. Zuwaira didn't say a word the entire journey. When they reached the Nigerian embassy gate, the guard barely looked up. Passport? He asked flatly. We don't have one, Amina said. We are here for help. I am a Nigerian citizen, and so are they. He frowned. Do you have an appointment? No, but we are victims of human trafficking, and I am a registered journalist at Waka FM Abuja. My sister was abducted. The man hesitated. Wait here. They stood outside the gate for 43 minutes. Halima had to sit on a pavement. Zuwaira leaned against the wall, her eyes shut. Finally, the gate opened. They were led into a waiting room with plastic chairs and old frame photos of smiling politicians on the wall. The fan creaked overhead. The embassy staff who walked past didn't smile. They barely looked at them. An official, a woman with perfectly drawn brows and red lipstick, came in. Who is Amina Danjuma? Amina stood. I am Amina. The woman looked at her. So what is your matter? My sister was trafficked into Cameroon. This girl too. She pointed to Zuwaira. They escaped. I have audio recordings, photos, witnesses, and names. I want to file a report. The woman sighed. Okay, you will fill Form 7B. Then go to the consular wing. Then we will see if you qualify for the emergency travel letter. Amina snapped. She raised her voice, slowly and clearly. I am a registered journalist with Waka FM, Abuja. I have a full report, recordings, names and dates. I have risked my life to rescue Nigerian citizens. If this embassy won't help, I will send this story to channels, TVC, BBC Hausa, Al Jazeera, and every platform that will listen. You will make headlines. The woman blinked. Her mouth fell slightly open. The room went quiet. Another man in brown suit quickly entered. Madam, please, let's attend to them. Within 10 minutes, everything changed. They were taken to a proper room, given food, photographed, fingerprinted, interviewed. Amina's file was stamped, urgent, immediate repatriation. Halima was given medical referrals. Zuwaira was referred to a Cameroonian child welfare NGO. Amina sat in a chair, holding her sister's hands, finally breathing. They were going home. It had been a week since they arrived their hometown, Tundu Wada, Kano. The sun was high, hot and bold, like it knew that joy had returned to Danjuma's compound. The small house was alive again. Voices floated from the courtyard. Laughter spilled in the rooms. Neighbors, many of whom had whispered once that Halima had followed the man, were now bringing gifts. Mothers held their daughters tighter. Fathers looked away in shame. And in the center of it all stood Halima, wearing a soft yellow Ankara, her belly round with life, her eyes bright with healing. Mama Hadiza sat in a plastic chair at the edge of the room, both arms lifted, her mouth trembling with prayer. Thank you, God. You brought back my child. You gave me double joy. You covered my shame. You turned my mourning to celebrations. Tears ran down her cheeks, but she didn't wipe them. She wept openly, proudly. Across the room, Amina stood by the window, her arms folded. She watched it all, the visitors, the greetings, the food, but her eyes were on Halima. She smiled, then turned as someone entered the doorway behind her. It was Mukhtar. He was holding a small white bag with medicine. You came? Amina said. I said I would. She stepped forward. I heard there is a hospital opening in Abuja, Garki General Hospital. They need new staff, Mukhtar said. Amina raised her brows. Oh, really? He smiled. Yes, and I may need someone to help me find the good suya spots. She chuckled, a little red in her cheeks. I know someone. They both laughed. They stood close, the noise of celebration humming around them. Mukhtar leaned in. Thank you for reminding me that good people still exist. Amina reached for his hand. And thank you for helping me bring my sister home. 1 year later, the rain had fallen earlier that morning, leaving the air smelling of wet sand. Inside the Danjuma's house, fresh wrappers hung on the line. The windows were wide open, letting in soft air and the gentle clinking sound of plates being washed in the back. In the corner of the room sat Mama Hadiza, holding something tightly to her chest, a tiny baby wrapped in lemon-colored cloth. The baby cooed softly, her fist wiggling against Mama's blouse. Her name was Hawa, meaning life. Born on the first Friday of the month, healthy, bright-skinned, a head full of soft black curls. She was perfect, and she was home. Halima sat nearby, dressed in a lilac gown. Her body was still healing, but her spirit glowed. Her face had regained color, and her eyes, once dim and broken, now shone with quiet joy. She watched her daughter in their mother's arms with a gaze full of gratitude. "She looks like Papa," Halima said. Her mother nodded, kissing the baby's forehead. "She has your nose though, and Amina's stubborn lips." Halima laughed. She would ask hard questions, just like her auntie. Across the room, Amina entered, holding a notebook and a pen. She paused at the doorway, watching the scene, her chest tightened with peace. 3 months after their return to Nigeria, Zuwaira was officially placed with a Cameroonian NGO that helped rescue girls from trafficking. They tracked her parents in Gombe, a quiet couple who had believed their daughter was dead. The reunion made headlines. Every 2 weeks, she wrote to Amina. Her last letter said, "You came for her, but you saved me too. I want to become a lawyer, so no girl ever has to scream into silence again." Amina cried for days. Justice came early. 3 months after the embassy report and after Amina's recordings aired on local radio, the Cameroonian Border Patrol raided a property near Banyo. Inside, they found girls, 7 of them, some as young as 13. Yakubu Gambo tried to run. He climbed the bush, tried to swim across a muddy river, but he slipped and was caught. His arrest made the news, but not the front page. People didn't always care when bad men fell, but Amina did. She kept the headline, a small article with the words, "Notorious trafficker captured." She pinned it beside her desk at home. It was enough. The story that shook the nation. Amina had recorded everything, from her journey through Gembo to her walk into the women's shelter, from her interviews with Halima and Zuwaira to the message Halima sent. She turned it into a documentary, a gripping audio story titled Her Name Was Halima, Love, Lies, and the Border That Almost Took Her. It went viral in 3 days. Radio stations across Nigeria played it. Universities shared it. People wept in their cars. Senators tweeted about it. It won multiple awards, but more importantly, it started conversations. Girls began speaking up. Mothers began asking better questions, and the government finally pushed for better border control and rescue units for trafficked girls. 6 months later, with Sade's help, Amina registered an NGO called Voices Beyond Borders Foundation. Its mission was simple: help families trace missing daughters, fund cross-border rescues through local partnerships, create safe spaces for returnees to heal, train journalists to report trafficking stories with care and truth. Their slogan was, "Come home, we are looking for you." Within its first year, the foundation had helped 8 families locate their missing daughters. 3 were rescued, 5 were still being tracked, and it was just the beginning. Every Friday night, without fail, Mukta came to visit. He never called, he just knocked, sometimes with suya, sometimes with pineapple and papaya, once with jollof he cooked himself. Halima said it needed salt, but she ate it all anyway. He became family. He moved to Abuja and now worked at Garki General Hospital as a trauma specialist. People called him Dr. Quiet. But when he came to Amina's house in Abuja, he laughed. He played with baby Hawa. He discussed books and recipes and pains and healings. He never proposed, not yet. But one night, Amina asked him, "Why do you keep coming?" He looked at her, his eyes soft. "Because you remind me of light." She smiled. "I thought you would say suya." They both laughed, and that one too. It was evening that day. Amina sat by the window. She held the last page of her documentary script, the final words she had written. She whispered them aloud. "This is for every girl who ever believed in love and was punished for it. This is for the sisters who ran, who stayed, and who searched. This is for Halima, and for the girls who never made it back." She folded the paper, tucked it into a small wooden box, and locked it. Mukta entered with a tray of oranges. "Time for suya?" she asked. He smiled. "No, time for family." She stood, walked over, and rested her head on his shoulder. If you enjoyed the story, then I am certain that you will enjoy the next story showing on the screen right now. Please click on the thumbnail and watch the next story. Please support me by liking this video, share with your family and friends, and subscribe to my channel. See you in my next story. Bye.